Using the code my team members and I wrote for a text-based role-playing game called Return to Rexburg, I will demonstrate the following Java concepts. When to use the keyword static with variables and with methods, the differences between arrays, array lists, and enumerations and when to use them, how to use the for and the enhanced for loop to navigate through arrays, why exception handling is so important during runtime, and finally, the difference between byte streams and character streams, and how to write character data to external files. The reserved word static is used as a modifier to indicate that a variable is used as a class variable and not an instance variable. In this example, the variable location on line 24 is defined as static because it needs only one copy that will be shared among all instances of the class. In contrast, the variables defined below that example, beginning on line 29, are class instance variables, or non-static variables, because copies will be made of them for each of the locations within the game. A method may also be defined as static, which means that the class method can only be invoked by the class rather than the specific instance. One advantage of using the static keyword is that it makes a program more memory efficient because the space allocated for memory is common to all of the classes. In line 87, the method createLocationList is defined as a static method because it will not change and it can be called before any object is initialized. Alternatively, the method getLocationName, shown on line 121, is not defined as a static method because it will change and it will be called after an object has been initialized. The main method, which is called when a Java application begins, is an excellent example of the use of the keyword static. This declaration allows main to be called before any objects of the class have been created. In programming, it is common to include lists of items in a program. An array is the perfect way to organize and store lists of items and their respective information. Essentially, arrays store information or data in an efficient way so that the information can be easily maintained and navigated. The array list class is similar to an array, but where an array has a fixed size, an array list object dynamically grows and shrinks as items are added and removed from the list. So if you want to add or remove items from the list, or if the objects in the list are of different data types, then an array list class would be the best option. Enumerations are used for lists of items that are fixed and that do not change, such as days of the weeks or months of the year. In Return to Rexburg, we have 26 different locations, each with unique data that needs to be stored within the game. We have used an array to store the information for each location. Arrays are zero-based, which means that the first item of the array will start with a 0, as seen in line 129 of the code, and each of these items can easily be referenced using its index. However, we use an array list of integers in our game so that we can easily add or remove locations during the process of creating the game. For loops are used to navigate through the elements of an array, and they can be written so that only a portion of the array is searched by setting a starting and ending index range. It is used when the number of times an action should be repeated is known ahead of time. An enhanced for loop does basically the same thing as a for loop that iterates through the elements of an array, but it is much simpler to code, and it can prevent an array index out of bounds exception from occurring. This kind of loop is declared first with the data type, then the element itself, and then a reference to the array that you want to iterate through. In this example of code, I want the program to display a list of all of the locations in the game from start to finish. Lines 167 and 168 demonstrate the basic for statement that iterates through the list of items in the array. Again, arrays are zero-based, so the variable I has been set to 0, and the loop will iterate through the length of the locations list until it reaches the end. For the game, we used an enhanced for loop. After calling the array from where it is being stored in the map, I used an enhanced for loop beginning on line 172 to navigate through the entire list of locations in the array. Inside the parentheses, I have referenced the array with the word locations, which is written after the colon, and I use the map.getLocations method to grab that information from the array. Each time it loops through those lines of code from 172 to 176, it will grab each location from the list in order, print the location name, the planet depth, and the surface hardness in columns. And it will continue to loop through the locations until the program terminates after displaying the last item on the list. During the process of writing any program, errors are bound to occur, whether it be on the programmer side or on the user side. Exception handling allows us to write code that will essentially handle predictable errors that may occur when a user, for example, enters something invalid. It also allows us to prevent our program from crashing during runtime. In line 38, the throws clause is included at the end of the method signature and specifies the exceptions that are being handled when the user is asked for input. After the user enters something, the program checks to see if it is not a valid integer between 1 and 10. If so, then it jumps to line 48 and displays the message. Invalid entry. Please enter a number between 1 and 10. However, if the user enters something like apple, which is obviously not an integer, the program will catch the error with a number format exception error and will prompt the user with a message to try again, rather than crashing the program. Once the program has detected a valid input, the requested action will be handled. The finally block beginning on line 54 will be executed after the try-catch block, no matter what. Exception handling enables programmers to write programs that will be able to run by responding to errors while still executing the program. Java runs on streams such as byte streams and character streams. Byte streams read and write data 1 byte at a time in sequential order and are used to read and write binary data. Since byte streams cannot be used to read and write Unicode character data, using character streams in Java allows for more flexibility with international usages of Java. Character streams, on the other hand, support characters in both ASCII and Unicode format and is the recommended format for reading and writing all character data. A reader class is used for input and a writer class is used for output within character streams. Also, character streams are less error-prone and allow us to be able to read the user input from a file or even print the output to a printer. There are times when information from a program needs to be written to an external file or even printed on a printer. Character data streams allow us to do just that. In these lines of code, I have used a print writer class and have set it up so that the names of all of the locations of the game, along with their unique information, will be written externally to a file and also to the console. After declaring a print writer variable in the main class of the program, along with its getters and setters, I created a print writer output stream in line 150 and created a print writer object for a file called locations.txt. The user will be prompted to enter a file path for where the report shall be printed. The code on line 148 grabs that input, and then the program displays the information it is pulling from the array to the file that was specified. Anytime a data stream is opened, it must be closed once the execution of the statements has been concluded. File streams must be closed after reading or writing data to the file, as seen on line 177, so that other processes are not affected. Here is a quick demonstration on how Return to Rexburg plays out on screen.
This is Return to Rexburg. It prints out a description of the game, and it is prompting me to enter my first name, which I will do. It displays a welcome message and a main menu with some different options. I'll go ahead and select, let's do Start New Game. And here we have some options for the game. And I'll go ahead and select alien menu, pass by the alien, which prints out a message saying that I successfully have passed by the alien. I come across a different alien, answer a question. Is the sky blue? True. Yes, it is true. Correct. You won a trophy and 25% of fuel. I'll go ahead and return to the alien menu. Nothing else I want to do here, so I'm going to return to the main menu. And the options here on the game menu give me a location menu, which I want to select. The menu is displayed here with some different options. I'll go ahead and try out the drill for fuel. There is a message displayed giving me information about that location, and it's asking me to enter a number between 1 and 10 so that I can get some more fuel. Let's try 3. I didn't earn any points. I will go ahead and go back to the main menu, and I will select the map this time to see what locations there are. I'd like to print the report of the locations to the console and also to a separate file. So I'll go ahead and select something, and I selected something incorrect. It gives me a message, so I will try that again. Go ahead and select an I, and it asks me to enter a file path. Go ahead and enter a file path here, and it also prints it here for me on the display so I can see all the different locations and the different planet depths and surface hardness for each planet. So then I decide I want to go back to the main menu, and I will go ahead and turn to the actual main menu here. I decide I want to save the game. So it's asking me to enter the file path where I want to save the information. It's now saved. I will go ahead and quit the game.
Object-oriented programming languages, such as Java, allow programmers to easily create applications that can be used in real-world situations. Java development tools make it easy for even a beginner programmer such as myself to quickly develop and create applications within a short amount of time. Though I still have much to learn about object-oriented programming, I definitely feel more confident in my ability to understand and to use the tools and concepts I have acquired this semester. Thank you.